Hello and welcome to today's video. Here we're going to be looking at the second section of Act 1, Scene 5. And we'll be talking about the conversation that Macbeth and Lady Macbeth have about their plan to murder King Duncan. Before we do that, I want you to check your knowledge of what we've done in the previous videos. So pause the video and write down what you remember about the definitions of each of these words, and then start the video again when you're ready. Okay, here goes. Tragic hero is a noble character of high birth with a fatal flaw who meets his downfall. So Macbeth is noble, he's respected, he's brave, he's of high birth. His fatal flaw is his ambition, which leads to his downfall. Sorry for the spoilers. Machiavellian is someone who is sly, cunning, scheming. They use manipulation to get what they want instead of violence. Someone who is skeptical is unsure, asks lots of questions. So this refers to Banquo in Act 1, Scene 3, when the witches give the prophecies and Banquo asks them questions, whereas Macbeth, by contrast, is rather credulous. Credulous means someone who trusts people quite easily. They fall for things. So think of Macbeth when he gets the prophecies, or Duncan is very credulous about everyone around him. He just trusts everybody. Dramatic irony is where the audience know more than the character. So, for example, in Act 1, Scene 2, the Thane of Cawdor is executed and Duncan gives the title to Macbeth. Macbeth isn't there, so he doesn't know that. And then in Act 1, Scene 3, immediately afterwards, the witches say to Macbeth, "You're going to be the Thane of Cawdor." Well, we as the audience already know that information. That's not a surprise to us. Another example of dramatic irony is then when Macbeth has the horrid image of committing regicide, of killing King Duncan, that he's pretending to be loyal to Duncan. We know that Macbeth is thinking about murder. Duncan doesn't know that. Aside and soliloquy are very similar. So this is when the character speaks on stage to themselves almost. Nobody else on stage hears them, but the audience do. An aside is a short comment that the other characters don't hear. A soliloquy is a longer speech that the other characters don't hear. An allusion is a reference to another text. So, for example, in Act 1, Scene 5, when Lady Macbeth tells Macbeth to be the serpent, this is a biblical allusion to the snake, which is the devil in the Bible. Divine right of kings means that the monarch or the king or the queen's power is given from God. So in the world of the play, Duncan's power comes from God. So when Macbeth kills him, again, sorry for the spoilers, when Macbeth kills King Duncan, that's a moment where he's not just challenging Duncan's earthly authority, but also challenging the authority of God. And regicide means to kill the king or the queen, to kill the monarch. Okay, we are good to go. Right, this is the second half of Act 1, Scene 5. Hopefully you've watched the video already about the first half. Lady Macbeth knows about the prophecies. She's worried that Macbeth is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. That is, Macbeth is too kind and compassionate to murder King Duncan. And then Macbeth enters and they start talking about the act of regicide, the act of killing King Duncan. Lady Macbeth greets her husband, saying, "Great glams, worthy Cawdor, greater than both by the all-hail hereafter. Thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant." As in, Lady Macbeth thinks the future's already here. I already feel like we are king and queen. She is so ambitious and ready for this prophecy to come true. And Macbeth says, "My dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight." Lady Macbeth, "And when goes hence?" Macbeth, "Tomorrow, as he purposes." So Macbeth brings the news, Duncan's on his way, he's going to stay the night, he's going to go tomorrow, as he purposes, as in he plans to leave tomorrow. Macbeth is hinting at something here, but not quite brave enough to say it. Are they going to stop Duncan from leaving by murdering him? And if Macbeth is ready to hint, Lady Macbeth just cuts straight to the chase and she just says what's going to happen. "Oh, never shall sun that morrow see." So we're going to kill Duncan. He's not going to be here tomorrow because he'll be dead. And then she continues, "Your face, my Thane, is a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time, bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue." As in, Be welcoming to King Duncan. Look like you want him to be here. Be your kind of kind, compassionate, friendly, lovely self. Look like the innocent flower. So look perfect. Look like the loyal, patriotic servant that you have been all of these years. But be the serpent under it. Be the devil, be evil, be cunning, be scheming, be Machiavellian. Just make sure you hide that really, really well. She continues, he that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall to all our nights and days to come give solely sovereign sway and masterdom. Macbeth, we will speak further. So Macbeth hasn't quite decided. Lady Macbeth is determined they're going to kill King Duncan. In order to do that, they need to put on this friendly, welcoming facade. Underneath, they're going to be evil and cunning and scheming. However, Macbeth, we will speak further, so we need to talk about this a little bit more. I haven't decided. And Lady Macbeth, only look up clear. To alter favour ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me. So she says, I'm in charge here. I'm going to tell you what to do. So here we see Lady Macbeth being quite dominant, being quite unconventional. She's almost taking the masculine role in this relationship. Okay, so I want you to pause and have a bit of a think and fill in the table as you do that. So in the first column, you're thinking, where is the evidence that Lady Macbeth is really certain about this regicide? And then in the second column, where is the evidence that Macbeth is uncertain about regicide? Okay, so stop the video, take a couple of minutes to fill in your table, and then start the video again when you're ready. Here we go. So Lady Macbeth says, I feel now the future in the instant. She's impatient to be queen. She feels like she almost is queen at this point. The future is here. And then later on, she says, never shall sun that morrow see. She's really definite and determined that Duncan will die that night. However, Macbeth says tomorrow as he purposes. So here Macbeth is hinting at regicide. He's saying Duncan is planning to leave tomorrow. But there's some subtext here, and Macbeth is saying, well, actually, maybe he won't. But Macbeth won't come out and say that they're going to kill him. And then towards the end of the scene, Macbeth says, we will speak further. He wants to think about it more. He is not decided what they are going to do. So let's zoom in then on this quotation, because it's really important, and you can learn this quote as one of your key quotes for writing about the play in the exam. And Lady Macbeth says, look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. So this idea of the flower is a facade, putting on a false front, pretending to be something that you're not. And then the serpent is a biblical allusion to the devil, because we know the story of the Garden of Eden. The devil comes and talks to Eve in the form of the serpent, and he tricks her. So you're going to look beautiful and perfect and wonderful on the surface, and then underneath that, Macbeth needs to be corrupt and evil. Okay, so that's just a quotation that I'm highlighting to you there because it is so important for you to learn that particular one. Right, let's go back to our knowledge check from the beginning of this session then. We've got our 10 words, which we've already defined. And what I want you to do is think about the whole play that we've read so far. So Act 1, Scene 1, all the way through to Act 1, Scene 5, and write a summary of the play so far using as many of those words as you can. I've given you some sentence starters on the screen if you need them. Obviously, you can change them and flip them on, manipulate them a little bit to what you want to say. But the idea is that you write a summary of everything we've done so far using as many of these words as you can. I would suggest that'll take you about 5 or 10 minutes if you do it really thoroughly, and then start the video again once you've finished and I'll show you my version of this. Here we go then. So in the play Macbeth, Shakespeare first introduces the tragic hero, Macbeth, as a patriotic, courageous and loyal warrior. In Act 1, Macbeth meets the witches and is immediately credulous, he's trusting, when he hears their prophecy that he will be king. Macbeth is contrasted with Banquo, he is more sceptical, as in he's more cautious, he asks questions, he is more sceptical about the instruments of darkness. Next, we discover that Duncan is going to continue to reward Macbeth, but not make him heir to the throne. Through soliloquies and asides, Shakespeare creates a sense of dramatic irony, as Macbeth plans to commit regicide whilst pretending to be loyal to Duncan. Shakespeare then introduces Macbeth's Machiavellian wife, Lady Macbeth, who is ambitious and desperate to make her husband king. She does not dwell on the breaking of the divine right of kings, but instead focuses on how to commit regicide without being caught. Shakespeare alludes to the Bible in his presentation of Lady Macbeth, as she convinces Macbeth to act like a devilish serpent. Okay, your summary is going to be different from mine. That is absolutely fine. But if you struggle to get some of those words into yours, have a little look at how I've done it and see if you can use that to finish your summary off. Okay, thanks very much, folks. The next video will be on Act 1, Scene 6.